Give me a second.
Where's the playing music, you know?
Oh, there's no playing music yet.
We can use like the patele music that we were gonna use in the background.
That's always after. That's post production.
Jumping.
But all right, now we're on, and I'm here with my good friends Ernest Caravalho, Ken Farm, and we're just here talking story, talking shit.
Oh.
What we were talking about before we started recording though was the lieutenant governor's race.
Yes, we have.
for Hawaii. We have some interesting people who've decided to run.
I think we have like I think it's like 6 candidates. We have Keith Amamiya, we have Jill Takuda, we have 2 minors, so that's Sherry McNamara Namor of the Hawaii Commerce not Commerce Association.
Chinese or no, the Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, there's Manor, Sylvia Luke. Did I miss anyone?
No,
Did you say Jill Takuda?
Yes.
Yeah, I said. Yeah,
I think that's it for now. Yeah.
So like, 5. I mean, there's a plurality that may go on there. So it depends on, who's taking what votes from who.
Yeah. But Keith Amamiya's name didn't really help him so much with the mayor's race, as in being on top.
It didn't, but the carryover vote for this may still be there.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you start out with something like that, I mean, that's a very good position. And then you just, whatever the normal win vote is for the LG race.
I do agree with him, but what I like about Amania is he's got a great personality. He's approachable. He's actually very approachable, and I've got to know him, and he's a really good person, and that'll help him a lot. But I think there's a fall person in there. And who's that fall person?
That's
is that Sylvia?
That's
who's going to take away votes from?
And that's the thing. I believe with you. I don't know who it would be. I know there's probably 1 or 2 that's there, but then the question is, who are they taking votes from?
Yeah.
And what is the who are they looking for in terms of orchestration of who the
final
main
outcome is?
Yeah,
who they want at the final. So I think Sylvia Luke is the one that's going to help take away.
I can't make a judgment on that.
Let's kind of look at it like this. So Sylvia Luke, she's been the chair of the finance committee for the House, which I will argue is
the most powerful
position you can have.
It is the most powerful based on the Constitution, because the Senate must pass a bill. The House can fold their hands.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when in light of that, everything has to go to finance, and we've all been at the Capitol, and we've all been there.
So, hey, all I'm gonna say is, we're going to see if those decades of favors are going to pay off.
Oh, yeah. But I told somebody, because there's their first time ever going to finance.
You can hear the police sirens in the back.
You can hear the sirens.
We are live on location in Chinatown.
That's right. And it's not Chinatown unless you hear the sirens or the police or the ambulance.
Smell the piss on the sidewalk.
There we go.
Actually, I am disheartened to hear you say that, because we've actually worked hard to clean up Chinatown.
Yeah,
and if you just look outside, you'll see that Sun Park is a whole lot better place.
Well, okay, but,
it is getting clean.
But I want to counter you on that.
As the sirens are rolling.
But they're not coming here in front of Sun Park.
That's the ambulance anyway.
Right. But I want to counter you on that, because, wearing my other hat here on the neighborhood board for Kalihi I wanted to have that connection between ourselves and Chinatown, so that we have a concerted effort to how do we deal with the issues of mental health, on the homelessness issue, so that it's not just, okay, we're just going to move this person here and to move back, but how do we have a real comprehensive viewpoint of that, and that's a big part, and I think it would be something that's going to be big, even whatever elections is going to come out.
And I totally agree with you, but unfortunately, if Neighborhood Board 13 keeps voting the clowns in, nothing's going to change, and I do apologize.
Well, but let's
nothing will change, because they're not going to reach out to you guys, because they have their own agenda.
I understand that, and that's that is to the detriment of the people on Oahu, because us working together, that's what's going to really, I think, because we have the larger concentration that's right here, right? And how do we deal with it? So if we have one side that doesn't want to talk, and you have one side that's saying, hey, we want to try to do this, services or whatever. Good example, right? We have the different districts. District 1 in terms of police, District 5. I have mostly District 5 in mind. You have mostly District 1. But there needs to be that communication aside from just police and that, but on the social service side, neighborhood boards. So whatever decisions we make, we're in concert with each other.
Well, no matter what happens with the election, what I want to do is, even if I don't win the chair at that point, I'm still going to reach out for our chair to reach out to you guys because it's very important. But we must remember we need to invite Liliha also.
Yeah, I mean
because all three of that, it's like the tri makes that one area that's very important to us.
Well, we should. This is someone I think push for, and when you were on the board, James, was there needs to be a joint meeting of the different neighborhood boards. I don't know how OIP, Office of Information Services, Office of Information.
What is
practices? I'm sorry,
yeah,
practices.
So what is the P?
Yeah, what is the P? I keep forgetting that part.
I don't remember.
If they allow us to do that, but I think they really should, because when you look at it from the community standpoint, the boots on the ground area, that's where we could really get that information flowing. And that's in a different world when I was in, is once you have that information coming from the ground, it's easier to make the decisions at the higher level.
Yeah, because we share the borders that we share, especially the borders that we share with Kalihi, right? The Kalihi Palama area. That River Street going ever is Kalihi Palama,
Yes,
which
it
is A'ala Park, which A'ala Park affects Chinatown more than it does the rest of Kalihi. So, but we need to bring you folks into this, your board into this, and our board to come with a solution that's going to work for everybody else.
Exactly.
But to do that, you're absolutely right. We have to have behavioral health therapists involved. We have to have drug addiction people involved.
I think also beyond that, and I think I talked to James about this, is that, there's a lot of do-gooder organizations that want to do good and food, but it's not given in a clinical approach. And it needs to be part of the clinical approach as it goes on here. It's not just food for just food's sake, but it needs to be part of, if we're going to do this, it needs to come with the services like you're talking about, mental health, wraparound services, and we need to make a distinction in terms of, and not just the treatment resistant population that people talk about, but I was trying to put something together where we have different groups. We have those who are the criminal element that we know about. We have those who I'm going to say are those who are a matter of circumstance. So that's by they can't afford it, money, job, that kind of thing. They're still lucid. They still have the ability to have what's called reasoning capacity and decision-making process. And we have those who just don't, the ones that we see, the severe mental issues and with that. And then we have those who are just stubborn. Usually they're, from my experience, they're in a category of those who can make decisions, but they don't want to, live in terms of what we consider like the typical individual, they like living out and things like that. So we need to make that distinction as well.
They just don't want to follow rules.
Yeah, that's it.
Bottom line, they don't want to follow rules. What really gets me here in Honolulu is, and I've seen this across the nation from New York to Los Angeles, when they have food services, people come in to have food services. And when they come in to have food services, they go ahead and they help to clean. And food services are connected to bedding for them that night too. And they get to sleep there that night. They wake up, they have a good meal, and they have counselors to help them. Hey, can we help you? Right. Maybe to get you on the right track. How can we assist you? Maybe you're on the streets because you can't get a job.
Right. But, matter of circumstance, right?
Matter of circumstances.
So, that's the kind of thing is when we make those kind of distinctions, I think that helps us to be like, and I wrote something up and, this is something separate from this, but how do we address each in terms of the intervention that each, should be a part of? And then there's a thing I built was a basic premise. And then how do we take certain basic premises and then build our policies off that, decision-making processes off of that, so we're all on board.
Right.
Yeah, but here's the thing, nationally, everyone is having problems with homelessness, right? And when you listen to these people, they talk about what they're doing. They're all doing the same shit. The housing first. They're going out. They're putting in porta potties, so they're not urinating. But my thing is especially in Hawaii, because we have a limited amount of land, and we just keep getting more and more mentally ill and drug addicts. At some point, people are going to have to say, okay, instead of spending all this money on these housing first projects and things that rarely work. Yeah, they might put 5 people up a year, but 3 of them are back on the street. Right. My thing is you got to expand the state hospital system. You got to give people long-term permanent care.
Right.
Problem is, how do you get them into that care? Because look at that guy that was in
I'll let Ernest say his part now.
For me, the problem is the state. The state is not willing to look long term. All they're looking for is band-aid solutions. And the bottom line is we do need rehab centers. Now, you talk about housing first. To me, housing first doesn't work. If you're going to put someone that does drugs into housing first, he's going to ruin it for anyone that's following behind him. Because once he gets in, he or she gets in, they're going to be doing drugs, inviting their friends over. They're going to be causing a lot of problems. A rule of thumb that I like out here is to follow the U.S. vets model. The U.S. vets brings in the vets to their properties, which is in Kailai law. And they have dorms. So they have like 4 dorms per quad. Each dorm has 4 beds in it. They feed them breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. They drug test them. They go to OIP. Every day they go through programs. They go and they stay there for 2 years with them. Because getting rid of a drug problem isn't a 6-month problem. It takes a good 2 years, especially with meth, to get rid of. They help them along the way to the point where they've actually got them a job and housing to live in. And then they follow them for the next 5 years after that.
So
that's a good program.
So and I agree with that's a good program. However, the way that the funding stream works, and the other part too is, when you're in the military, like we all were in, there's a certain regiment that we could follow and be a part of, right? So how do we, and that's for a specific part of the population, right? And the reason also they can do it is because of the billing ways, right? Because VA pays for it as part of it and everything else in between. It's a different funding source and how that works. They allow for that 2 years, like you're saying. And it's just different when we're just dealing with just regular civilians, for example. The bigger part about it is that, again, let's go back to, a part of how we deal with people with circumstance or mental illness. I'm going to respectfully disagree with you when it comes to
Don't respectfully
housing.
disagree. Just shit on them.
No,
Hey.
Yeah, it's terrible. No, yeah, I'm just going to shit on you right here.
Don't you ever do.
So housing first does work if it's done properly, right? And what I mean by properly is group home, I think, is a very effective way first, right? Is we do a group home type of thing. And it doesn't mean just like a home. We can do it in a larger stack as it was. A good example, in my opinion, is I have one of the largest hygiene centers in the nation, which is on
Ivale.
Yeah, Ivale.
Yeah, we all know about
Ivale,
it because it affects Chinatown more than it affects your area.
But here's the thing. It's like when former Mayor Caldwell, when his guy would come and he would say, "Oh, our program's working. We're putting in housing first." But
No.
But here's the thing. They're worried about numbers. Yeah, we got 100 people off the street.
So here's the
last
thing.
month, and you're like, but hold on.
No, go ahead.
But they're putting them in places like Winston-Howley, which is city housing. Right. A lot of older people there. So they're putting these older people
with these guys
with these drug addicts masturbating in the hallways.
Right.
And then the guy will always say, "Oh, well, you can call their social worker." Blah blah blah. Social worker never comes out and responds.
So let me give a response to this, okay? So I agree with you on that, right?
All right, that's it. Thank you.
No, but I'm not done yet, right? Again, let's go back to the matter of circumstance, right? There's those people who are just looking for a job, right? There's those people who are just need that extra help. Whatever it is, they are still lucid. They can still make those decisions. They're not far back.
That's fine.
And those are the kind of people that should be there. Now, when it deals with what we're talking about in terms of the severe mental illness, when you're talking about state hospital-wise, I think I agree. And
you agree with us on this.
Yeah, but however, people, and I keep hearing this from before, is the issues that happened with Waimanu Home. And...
Is that which one is that? Is that the one where the dude was
No, so it got shut down. So basically,
so I see where you're going.
What happened was it got shut down because of the things that were going on there. Now, when we shut it down, we didn't have community mental health that was there to support.
Yeah,
and that's part of the reason it's here.
So and let me go back just for a second. So my thing is we need to state hospitals, but again, like you're saying, that's just a part of it.
Right.
Because why did they close the mental health institutions in the past?
Because part of it was funding. The other part, too, is because some of the treatment, the way the individuals were, right?
Well, and look at it like this. Look at the elderly care homes today with the abuse of the elderly. So it's kind of like humans themselves have to learn that if you take on these positions of responsibility for another human being, that you are therefore responsible for that human being.
Right.
And just...
But then you just opened up a new can of worms. Foster care homes here in Hawaii, which are run by
So I mean, because the thing about it is like, and I'm going to go back to that point, is about 25% or better who are in foster care do end up on the street or in part of it. So, and that's a very good point you're mentioning. However, when we're talking about like at the adult population, which is on the street for the most part, that's where, and this is where I think the state hospital comes in. We do what's called the MH1 or part of it where we, do the assessment. We need to allow for more of the determination for that. We only have one police psychologist on Oahu. There's only one. And part of that is it's harder to make what's called the MH1 determination.
Yeah.
Queens only has 45 beds for their psych ward. And that's for everything. Not just for
we got more than that in Chinatown.
Absolutely.
Downtown,
So let me just keep going on with this, right?
But you have more places, though.
No, that's it.
Sure.
That is the
For psych, you have Kahimuhala, you have all these other places.
No, you can't take them there until they go to there.
Not necessary.
Yes, you can. I will show you because there was.
So wait, what do you say? This
you
officer comes out and says, "Hey, they're mentally ill. Send them to."
No. They have to go to the hospital for the assessment, and the hospital.
So who sends them to the assessment?
The police has them go over to.
So in general, he's only talking about the houseless population. Now, if
Yeah,
because if you have a child or you have a member,
don't put child because child's different.
Or a member. Child's not different because part of our houseless problem is children. 2/3 of our houseless
but
population
I'm saying
are children.
is that the jurisdiction is different. The jurisdiction of children falls under the judiciary system, right? It's very different. So the rules and everything that go along with it is very different.
It will just like right there is like the whole problem. Like every time we're pinpointing an issue, well, it's this responsibility of this thing. It's that.
Right,
Like,
so we're throwing it on different.
No. I mean that's by federal law.
Yeah. And so the problem is no one's connecting with each other. Bottom line.
Well, there's a lot of silos, right?
Perfect example. If you need benefits, you're low income, you're poor, you don't have an income. You come and you apply for food stamps.
Okay.
And then if you qualify for food stamps, you probably qualify for some other benefits too. But
Which
you
is
have to go
medical and all
to
that.
Another
those
office.
individual offices
Right.
and do a whole new.
Right, but so that's a good point too.
Exactly how it
But
works.
here's the kicker. They were going to combine all the systems into one, so you only had to go to one place to apply
And
for
then
everything.
what happened? Got
It was
shut down.
Yep.
They
Because
shut down.
each department wants that
Right,
funding.
and actually,
I agree.
there used to be that way. So when you applied for your food stamps, that automatically renewed your medical.
Yeah.
But then I believe sometime around 2011 or 2012, that was separated. And now you have to go to different agencies. But as James says, because James works on the food stamp side and I work on the Medicaid side. So what happened? They were going to combine it all again together.
Yeah.
But then
Got shut down.
coronavirus happened and that was it. And it's shut down. And who knows how long
But,
it's
you know,
going to be.
here's a-
But I want to get back to
Go,
your
sure.
housing first. I will agree housing first should work. And it should work. We should be giving housing first to those that are homeless, that are working with children first, before we give it
So
to
those are
drug
the
addicts
ones
first.
that are priority to begin
No,
with.
that should be priority.
No. It is.
No.
Okay.
Actually,
According
according to when we get our board
what is your
members,
definition of housing
Calm down,
first?
calm down.
so when
What
we
is your definition of housing first?
being able to put someone into a home right then,
That's wrong.
No, and that's what they tell.
That's wrong.
Housing
No,
first
that's
is taking
wrong.
someone off the street and putting them into housing.
No.
And that's what they do.
No. So this is what it means, all right? So housing first, as it was taking an individual, not necessarily families. This is more of an individual
to the mic
that's going to go inside there that needed the wraparound services. Right, so I'm not done yet on the wraparound services portion. So they house them first because before what was people were like, oh, we want them clean and sober first, and then once you're clean
That's
and sober, I'm not
impossible.
done yet. Then we will let you in, right? However, that's a pipe dream, and we know that's a pipe dream. So that and again, we're talking single, not
meth
families.
pipe dream.
No, and what you're talking about, and we heard from Alexander and everyone else that has come to our board meetings. Bottom line is not about the families and all that. It's about getting those drug addicts and those mentally ill into housing first before anyone else. And that's how they explained it to us. I understand your idea and what housing first should be.
What it should be.
What
But
it should be.
the way he
But
was,
the way
that's
they're
a
doing
different
it,
program.
That does not work because you cannot put a mentally ill or a drug addict into housing first. It is going to destroy it for the rest of everybody. Leonard is going to say, no, we want out of the program.
Right.
But see, that's where I was going at. Like for a lot of these policymakers and politicians, they're just looking at the next election.
That's
so
it.
so
That's
they
it.
can walk
Yeah.
around and say we housed X amount of people.
Right.
Now they don't tell you that those X amount of people are all
Right.
back out.
And
on
then the other
street
thing
now.
too is, unfortunately, the way that we have it set up was someone was telling me and I opened my eyes on this, was they only have an X amount of time that they can stay in there until they get you know, what they have to do. Which is insane because like I talked to someone, I said, look, I don't care how you feel about this thing. If it costs us $50,000 plus a year to have that person on the street, anything less than that is a cost savings. And it doesn't matter how I feel that, oh, this person is living on the dole or whatever it is. If that person is receiving services or housed and it costs us, let's say $3,000
so
a month.
I'm not sure what the breakdown is, but you take a houseless person in Chinatown. Every time, most houseless person, me working in the medical field, I can tell you that we have the same person riding ambulance at least 20 times out of the month.
And how much does it cost? And how much does it cost?
It costs an ambulance ride from Chinatown to Queens, which is about 5 minutes.
How much?
Cost you right now around $1,400.
I want people to get this, right? Because what you're saying, no, we're not done yet. How much is the emergency room care?
And so the emergency room care is going to come over to $2,000 something dollars.
So here's the thing. I'm being conservative with saying $50,000. I'm using part of the Canadian study that they use, minus the way they do their system.
Wait, I thought you were a Democrat.
Yeah, so the bottom line is,
I look at the opportunity cost of what we're doing and the price of inaction.
So not only that, every time the ambulance comes, the fire department has to come.
Yep.
Okay, we're wasting. So that's costing money there. Every time the fire department comes, the police comes, and the police don't come one car load. They come 6 carloads deep here in Chinatown.
Which I never understood that.
So the bottom line is this is costing us money. So if you take the money and figure out what one person a month costs us on the streets, take the money that we're spending now, which is taxpayers' money. Why not invest into
housing.
A long-term housing project?
No, I agree.
That's going to work.
And there's different types of housing that people need, right? So, for example, people of circumstance, I think that they can be in a single, right? But if you have individuals, like I said, like the concept that was for the hygiene center that's above, where you have a counselor there, but they can see everything that's going, in terms of like they're not seeing the rooms, but they can monitor how things are going. That's what's needed. And it's not just one floor. We need that for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think that would be very helpful in terms of looking at it from that housing first perspective. When you're dealing with families, that's just a matter of circumstance as well. We can deal with that too. And I think that's the thing is that he keeps saying that. And here's the reason why that they keep talking about families is there's a sympathy factor that's there. And they have that. In fact, that they're the ones who get housed first mostly. I had the conversation with Mark before. We were talking, it was a point in time count. And I was saying like, look, and sorry to go to the AMI thing, but like it was incredible to hear like, oh, well, it's all families that's on the street. When we did the point in time count, it was single individuals.
And it is single individuals. Okay, for you, and I'm sorry.
And then we can take that savings to sit with the families.
I'm sorry for calling Mr. Alexander out because Mr. Alexander lives in that building right across.
It doesn't matter.
Right across. No, let me finish.
Yeah.
Right across from me. And they say him and I forgot who else. They walk through Chinatown every day, and it's clean and it's not bad.
I don't know what they were.
I don't know where that came from.
And James, as a board member, you've heard that, and we would laugh. Are you kidding me? We're down here in the depth of it, trying to clean and fix it up, and they're not because they're ignoring it.
That's my whole issue, right? Is like, just so when we get back to like these lieutenant governor candidates,
sure,
they're all coming out, they're posting these things. Hawaii can do better, blah blah blah, and I'm like, yo, do you know what a lieutenant governor does?
That's the greatest job in the world.
Lieutenant
by Constitution. Two things.
He signs name changes.
No, that's one
number
thing.
One.
Yeah.
And number
Stay
2,
alive.
Stay alive. That's it.
To be the next. And
that's
all he.
That's it.
That's all he does. Although Josh Green has done more than that.
No, I agree. But I think that, the thing constitutionally,
all he does is change.
It's the greatest job in the world.
He signs name changes.
It's like being a vice chair.
He stays alive to be governor.
So like you could actually have the old school machines where you can like put all the documents and then just sign it one time, and you're signing like 5 at the same time.
But see, that's the thing. Is when these people they go to run for office, they're all gonna run on the same bullshit, and this is across the entire.
Well, a lot of people don't know what they actually do. Like to be honest, like how many times when you guys had your guys' boards and people are bringing issues up to the wrong level of jurisdiction. How many times?
Well, actually, you can look at our board, neighborhood board 13. You look at the board and you look at the man called Kevin Shadow McDonald, who is running for chair, but does not know the difference between the state and the city.
Oh, and God.
He doesn't. He's always asking.
Well, look at Plains, right? So everybody complains about, for example, let's say Plains, right? planes are not the purview of the county nor the state. It's FAA, it's federal, right? So that's where an example of that, right? Or I have individuals, and this is where I try to educate my area. Yours is easier because you just have District 1. Where I try to show them the map and say, okay, so if you're in this area or beyond this, you're in District 5, and here are the beats here. Hopefully that will, help it more. And if you're on this side here, I have a very Manini part that has District 1, but it's...
Because here's also what you guys got to remember, too, is like when you're throwing out like acronyms and things like that, abbreviations.
Make sure everybody understands.
A lot of people won't understand, so they're not going to get like the context.
Oh, yeah. But, being in the world we've been, everything was accurate.
And even with the acronyms and abbreviations, the explanations are still so long. Yeah. So.
But the thing again, coming from that world is, and for myself, I value what people are saying on the ground and how do I incorporate that into my larger overview of what the environment's like, right? What the operating environment.
But know what's sad though is when it comes to like politics in the United States and probably other democracies too, like. It's not about what you are really going to do or what you can do. Like, you never hear people lay out how they're going to do it.
It's a popularity contest. It's a popularity contest.
It's popularity. Especially in Hawaii, it's a popularity contest. Because in Hawaii, we all grumble. There's not one of you that does not grumble out there. We all grumble. We all grumble what our politicians are doing. But you know what? Wake up, people. It's your fault. It's my fault. It's our fault because we keep on recycling our candidates.
Well, here's the
politicians. We recycle them. Yeah. So they serve as city council. Oh, they did bad. We didn't like them. But we elect them to be Senate. Come on, people.
Right. Well, it's funny, and it's like people will always say, "Oh, well, if you don't like it, you run." I tell them like, "Oh yeah, I did.
I did.
I ran.
I tell them too.
Right. But we also know like the incumbency rate's about 95%.
Yeah.
Or 98 as it was. So. I mean, it's damn near impossible. And the other thing, too, is that you're hoping that there's a bunch of other people that feel the same way you do and have the fervor to actually engage in behavior of voting to get that other person in office. And very rarely do we actually have that. I mean, like, the only time we really did, I was talking to somebody about this, was like the Fosse time. That's when we really had that level organization.
Yeah. We don't have that anymore.
We don't have that anymore.
But people have given up. So even my own Ohana, that says, Ernie boy, we love you. We're not going to vote because we have no respect for this government.
How many years?
Same old people are in office doing the same old thing, so nothing changes. And I keep on saying, well, that's your fault. Go out there and change it. And they're like, well, my vote ain't going to make a difference. Well, no, your vote alone is not going to make a difference. But if you voted, and then everybody that felt like you voted, then maybe we can make a change. Right. It's not going to take today.
No.
It's not going to take tomorrow. It's going to take time. But we need to start now.
And honestly, like one of the things that I always bring up, and then I don't know how you guys are for your neighborhood board, but the biggest things I always bring up that's always at the forefront is roof over my head, food on the table. If there's services out there, or there are things, especially now with COVID, I want to make sure that my community knows what's out there. And whatever I can do to amplify whatever's out there, I'm going to try to do it.
To me, like, even with this district, you never hear from the state representative of this district.
Neither do I.
And it's like, wait, but the entire COVID time, like, there's so many seniors and businesses in your district that could have benefited from these programs that they might not even
here's a good
but nothing happened.
Here's a great example, right? I'm going to use it for the university, for example, right? And I'm trying to work on a relationship, so I don't want to put them down too much, but, we do have to say, and I'll call a spade a spade. There was a program that did digital literacy, and all the community colleges were a part of it, except unfortunately Honolulu Community College. And I'm like, why? What's going on here? And I'm like, you have a golden opportunity here because you have the larger part of the population. And God only knows how many people need it, from seniors and onward. And there was, there's going to be data if people want to look at to reflect that.
Well, you know why? Kalihi.
That's it. That's it.
100%. And you know what? That really irks me because I'm Kalihi born and raised. Yeah. I am Kalihi strong. But I remember that, and that really pissed me off.
But what is Kalihi, though? Kalihi is a
Kalihi is
working class community.
Well, yeah,
it is a working class
but the other part too is like, I ask people, okay, so what part of Kalihi are you talking about? Above Scoot Street or below Scoot Street? That's Scoot Street.
And you got to remember.
You got to make a distinction.
Yeah, but Kalihi is one of the largest aupuas on the island of Oahu. Right. It actually goes from the Kai to Mauka. Right. And we have everything from shipping and all that to homes, residential.
So for my
manufacturing and everything.
We've got it all. So for my area, it's below School Street, and the reason I make that distinction is there's a $30,000 a year difference in income from the Mackay side to Mauka, and then we have about a 85-90% home ownership rate above. So in the valley, so you have, and then educational attainment. So like for my area, I have about 43,000 and change in my area that I serve in constituency. And 30% do not have a high school diploma or GED. And it's very different in terms of
So in your area, you have 1-2 housing projects that are new, maybe 3.
I have Mayor Rights.
You have Mayor Rights. You have Mayor Rights, Kaumano housing.
Yeah, Kaumano.
And you have Cam housing. That's 3 right there.
I have 4.
And then Lanakila? Because it's School Street and below.
Yeah.
So
and then KPT.
And then KPT.
Yeah, I get 4.
So no, you have 5.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You have 5. So Kalihi has more housing projects in it than any other Opua. And I grew up in Kaumano
and it doesn't mean that I want to tear it down and say, we need to, how do we get the services to individuals?
So everyone that I grew up in Kahumanu, maybe just a few, have moved on. So my parents went from the housing project to having a home in Kalihi Valley, a beautiful home, now living down in Kapolei Homestead side, So they're doing really good. So
Fine homes. The AC. You're lucky.
But everybody else that I knew that I grew up with at Kahumanu Housing, they've become realtors. They've moved on. They've got excellent jobs, and these are housing bred people. We were born and raised in the housing. You know what houses?
Yeah, I do.
People born and raised in houses are not supposed to go anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Kaimulino housing on the Big Island till Hawaiian Homes.
Yeah, I wonder though, what is a population of those housing projects? I know Mayor Wright's a lot of like Micronesians, right? And a lot of these people.
So I have a lot of who are Micronesian. I have a lot of Filipinos, and I have also Native Hawaiians, but not as much. So, the bigger part, if you don't mind, is the yes, we do have a large part of it. Now, the other thing, too, is it's a pipe dream to assume that all we're going to do is get these people in STEM jobs and then they're going to magically be able to afford to live in Hawaii.
No, it's not going to happen. No. We have to educate.
Well, not only that, if we do real affordable housing, and this is the part of the economic perspective I take, if we do real affordable housing, and what I mean by that is not what we built, what is considered workforce, where the starting is 67,500. I think we're on that.
We're on that. We're on the same
but
page
there's no way. Like the income for the area is 43,000 for a family.
For a family.
And then you imagine what it means for a single individual.
Yeah, you just stuck now.
No. So it's really bad. So when I grew up in a different time, so our populations was Hawaiians, Samoans, and Puerto Ricans that lived back there. So you had the Noga family, you had the Cavallos, big name families that went places and did things and grew out of the housing projects and moved themselves up. And it was different then because when I was growing up, living in housing projects, can you imagine people kept the doors open all night long? Nobody was stealing. Like
Kalaki housing back in the day. Yeah,
that was back then. Yeah. Today you cannot do that. The population has changed, but Kalihi is the first place. I don't care what anyone says. Is the first place that monster homes began.
Yeah,
it is the first place because when the Filipinos came in to Hawaii, they came in, and I used to walk to school also from Kaumana Housing to St. Anthony's, and these homes were single. Then the next year or two, there'll be upper levels, and they will bring generations in.
But the thing about I don't like about monster homes that people, how they kind of portray it is like, they're just building this house to get a bunch of people to move in. What you're talking about is like, we have a family member coming from Philippines. We're going to build an addition.
And that's a different story.
Right, and that's a way different story.
When they did monster homes, it was to help their families.
That's right.
And then when one family got to the point where they could help, they would move into their own place and they would do the same thing so that they could take care of each other. And that's how it should be. That's how it always was.
Yeah.
But this monster homes today is different. It's about bringing in people from all over the world and letting them park in my parking space. Are you kidding? Get out of my parking space.
Well, there's another part to it too.
Old man.
Right. but there's another part to it too, and that is like, look, we do need housing. We haven't been providing the proper housing, and I can't begrudge anybody trying to find anything. And I know there's a bunch of illegal ones too. So, like for example, I looked at what's called San Francisco. They were mandated by the state of California to do a housing project. One of the things that came as a suggestion was the places that are illegal and existing, we try to find ways to bring them up to code, because we know that if we take those individuals out of there and we just shut it down, then where are they going to go?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no.
And we got to think like that.
And we do have to think like that. But let's not be San Francisco, because I've seen San Francisco
No.
from this to that. San Francisco.
No. What they're saying is
real,
because
though.
of the problem that they had to do these things about housing. And what they were looking at was, we had all these people who had these jobs at .com, and they just basically they priced everyone out.
No, and you're talking
Same thing
So what
about
I'm
happened in
talking about
Austin,
is
Texas.
like, for the people who are needing to find housing outside of that, like those, like we have it here.
Well, San Francisco has a hard time. Like, hold on.
No, but I'm-
It's
but-
very. You can go work for Google and still live on the streets when you live
But
out
here's
in
the
the
thing.
Bay
Here's the
Area.
thing. Like, what I don't like about the argument about the housing thing is because I fully believe in the American dream. I believe that if I own that property, that land, and I want to build a fucking
Monster
huge
home?
ass house,
Right, you
Then
should.
you should.
and people get mad. They say, "Oh, they should rent those out to locals, or they should rent them out to
No,
this
no.
or that." Hold on.
No, there's-
Are you?
no.
Do you have a vested? Are you financially invested in this? Like, no.
Well, if
so
you know-
how come you don't rent out a section of your apartment
So like,
you're in?
so like, if
sublet
you're
it
in
to
a
somebody
place
who
where
needs
you have
housing?
CCNRs, right, where those covenants is and whatnot, then you're kind of screwed.
Actually, like what you're saying, the only problem that I have with monster homes, and this is my only problem, this is my pet peeve. If you're gonna build and put in 17 rooms in there, you better be sure that you have 17 parking stalls to put
Yeah.
people in.
No,
because it's
keep
not
going.
fair
No,
for anyone that's
No,
living
I agree.
on that
But what I'm saying
road
is,
to have to
there are those
live out.
places already that. So this is what I've seen. So you'll have people that they'll build it, right? They're not going to put 17 first. They're going to get the DPP permit.
Yeah.
And then they're going to
Right.
change
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
right?
of
So we
course.
shouldn't have that in the first place. And again, there's a NIMBYism that's not allowing, like, look, we have, and this is what we've got so far. We need 50,000 units, right? 65% need to be affordable. And I mean real affordable.
And we need it now, and the problem, we cannot even reach that in the next several years.
Well,
'cause we don't have it
even if
worked
we
out.
did, the thing about it is we don't have the stomach for it, because we got to say, hey, look, we got to build housing. It has to be, it's not just a 1-2 story kind of thing.
Yes.
It needs to be
Huge.
It needs
7
to go.
8 stories.
So here's
So
the
we
bottom-
got to agree on that.
Here's the bottom line: either we go up, or
We don't have the space.
Yeah, but we do not have, because then we take away our farmland.
That's right.
And
we can
but
keep our
people are
green
complaining. I
lands.
know people that are saying, no, we don't like the idea. A lot of people are fighting to get homes for Hawaiian homestead. But there's a lot of people that are saying, hey, we want to live in urban Honolulu city.
Thank you.
Build us buildings.
Right.
And so build us 4 buildings and put a park there where we can grow vegetables and things like that. Why not? Oha, listen to that. The people want to do
Well,
it.
it's not Oha, it's DHHF, but you're right.
It's still part of
Yeah.
So, and another thing we need to discuss, okay? You're talking about housing. We are going to displace a whole bunch of people at Merrites because they're going to build up Merrites. Merrites is coming down.
Well, here's the thing. So like,
where are we going to put these people at?
well, okay, so that part is kind of a 1-for-1 because they're trying to get people out. But here's the thing that disrupted me the most, right? So they had a developer that came in there. I can't mention it here, but they were going to put 2,500 units, and there's some people who may not like the fact of that, but I was okay with it. What I wasn't okay with was how they lied of like, okay, what? So this is more on the technical side. What's the AMI breakdown, right? What's the AMI breakdown? Determines like the affordability of who's going to live there, right? They're hemming and hawing, and they're trying to tell me like, oh well, we haven't determined that, and I'm like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
No. So I'm like, you wouldn't have got this far with HHFDC and the money that you got. So then they broke it down, and this was bullshit. Let me tell you how bad it was. They were gonna do the first 1/3 of the property, the 2,500. Needed to be fair market rate, which just means that whatever the market is bullshit.
So, okay. So are they going to base the AMI on the Clee side?
No.
Or are they going to
No,
base
no.
it on Chinatown side?
No. AMI is based on county.
Okay, on the county?
So
Okay,
there is
okay.
right. So, and I can get into that discussion.
Yeah,
now.
because
so it's based
break it
on
down,
county.
so-
And anybody who's listening to this, if you go to HHFDC, if you just
Explain what it is.
Yeah.
You remember acronyms?
Hawaii, yeah, you're right. Hawaii Housing Development Funding Corp. So that's a state agency that receives the federal money. So if you go, again, it's HHFDC. If you Google it, and then if you see where it says income requirements on there for developers, you will see how far and how much they can charge. So when you look at a news article and they're mentioning this thing called AMI and a percentage, and you don't know what that means, this is one of the things I try to educate my community on, so they know that is what determines what the pricing is. So for these guys, right off the bat,
It's basically you can't afford it.
No. But
No,
they were trying to sell us bullshit. They're just
Yeah.
they're like, oh, but like the community will benefit. I'm like, how? And here's the other part too. It's just sad. So like right now, currently, the inventory in total for mayor rights for what's called 30 AMI or the public housing is about 324 or 328 units, right? They were going to build 2,500 units, and they were going to maintain the same level. I'm like, dude, can you guys put another 100? Like in that area?
Yeah.
Like anything. Anything.
First of all, they promised that the people that were living there were not going to get displaced and will be welcomed back into
Well,
the
no. So they will. But they will be welcomed back at the higher AMI levels.
Yeah.
And that is bullshit.
And first of all, they cannot afford it. These are people on welfare. Mayor rights is welfare.
But here's the thing: we're gonna retrain them, and they're gonna somehow magically be able to afford it.
No,
and it's bullshit.
Because back in the days, mayor rights was Hawaiian, Samoan, and Puerto Rican. You don't have that no more. Today it's mainly Micronesian.
We have Native Hawaiians part of it.
Yeah, and we have not educated or taught our Micronesians.
But even if we did, it doesn't matter.
They're not going to be able to do it.
It doesn't matter. I mean, the
still.
thing is that when I look at affordable housing, I'm saying, look, even if it was, we have different forms, that's a different one housing for it. But like, if somebody who works a job, let's say McDonald's, something like that, and if we make it affordable where even if they had their own room, but like, how we have a house or someone like we share, there's a room and then we all share. Right. But they have money at the end of the month and they have disposable income. Guess what? They can save. They have a contingency fund and beyond that, right? But that's something that gives them options. If you're literally, they can't even afford to live there.
The problem is the people that are building this project are not going to do that because
they're not
unappealing to anyone else that moves into that.
Well, I get it, and that's the sad part. Is like, look, the first thing I ask when it comes to the developments is, what is this going to do for the current population, the current residents? And it's
not going to do nothing.
It's going to add to the beautification of the community.
No, it's not. It's not. And you're right. So I like that idea, and that's an idea that I have been also pushing. We don't have to build an apartment complex that has a swimming pool and weight room. We have the largest swimming pool in the world. It's called the Pacific Ocean. Weight rooms, we can go outside and work out and all that.
But again, that's not part of it.
Let me finish.
Yeah, please.
Let me finish. Why not build individual rooms like a dorm,
right?
Where people will have shared cooking spaces, shared living room spaces.
You see, like I said, like Kawili, right? Like the one you saw, right?
I agree.
See,
at the lowest level, that should be $300 a month.
But here's what you guys got to understand too, which I'm sure you do, but you got to understand, if I'm a developer, this is my money.
I know your profit. I know your profit margin. I know your profit margin. You can't bullshit me because I know your profit margin.
I'm not in this game.
You're not in this game to help anybody.
I'm in the game to make money.
But you are taking, the thing is, if you're doing that, you're taking things what's called LIHTC, which is a low income housing tax credit. And that pays for an inordinate amount for the project.
As long as I'm sliding it in and I can still bank.
Yeah,
but the question is, how much do you want to bank? That's the question. What is your profit margin?
Okay, so
right?
So I went back into the office again this week, right? When I left because of COVID, this new building was coming up in front of our office. It's Ala Moana, where the buses go. It's called the Central, right?
Oh,
okay. So
that's a great place.
So let me tell you
that you can't live there.
Let me tell you something about it. So they claim to have affordable homes and housing, and they do, but they're affordable. No, let me finish.
Yeah.
They're affordable houses. The lanai smacked right into the parking garage.
That's lame.
Well, not only that. Here's the thing.
And it is not affordable.
I want people to understand it as well as you do, is that when they're saying affordable, when you look at these charts, you can see how up to the level of what we consider affordable. And when you look at these charts, I want you to understand there's a thing called 80%. You'll see it on there, and 120% AMI. Those things are what they consider workforce. Now, in order to be as a single person is 67,200 or 67,500 starting.
Yeah.
Starting. As a workforce.
Wait, let's scale it all back because we're talking about all the the AMI and all that. But in my opinion, it all goes back to who you elect because
thank you.
It goes into who you elect and what they're going to support. Now, my thing is so much of the let's just say the state and the county is focused in downtown Honolulu area. All these people driving, all this traffic is, because a lot of these state and city and county workers are in downtown area.
How many city, county, and workers? And I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it like this, right?
Yeah.
No, hear me out.
No, before we go any further, can you please? I know what AMI means, but I don't think we've explained this.
Sorry, area media income. I'm gonna re-say this again. Area media income. Yeah. So the federal government has what's this chart that they use, and every county has it to determine what the affordability level is going to be. So Oahu has theirs. Maui County has theirs. The Big Island has theirs. Kauai has theirs, and then you can kind of see from that level. What I'm mentioning here, and just a disclaimer, I'm mentioning just Oahu only when it comes to this and what those numbers are.
This is all for
now. The other part too is that I'm going to mention what's called bargaining unit 13, and that is HGA, which I'm sure you know,
yes,
James.
Because James was part of it.
It's called white collar non-supervisory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he knows.
Wait, that's 3, isn't it? Well, 13 might just be different jobs.
No. No, it's bargaining unit 13. I know.
I'm former state director for bargaining unit 3.
And you got it wrong.
Yes.
You got it wrong.
Did you say non-supervisor?
No, white collar non-supervisory bargaining unit 13.
Yeah, that's what
That's it.
Yeah, that's you.
That's
You're non-supervisory?
Yes.
You're really? You this guy?
Yeah, he's that person. You didn't know that was James.
So like he'd sit back and supervise. God, I didn't know.
Yeah, and you know what
so
that
that's
means?
who we blame. Everybody blame James.
3-4 hour lunch breaks.
That's him. So all jokes aside, how many of those individuals, and I actually saw the charts on this to try to figure this out, make 67,200 or 500 as a single individual?
Absolutely, probably like 3.
Maybe 3, right? So again, the question is, who are we building for? This is considered workforce.
Here's my thing. Again, going back to who you elected.
That's right.
These unions, whose workers live in Kalihi, who can't afford the very things that they're building.
Or even your bargaining unit 13, who are university. Yes.
That's 13. I was 3, though.
Right.
But I know what James going. Let go for it.
Like, for me in bargaining unit 3 is a lot of the white-collar non-supervisors, the frontline workers, the SNAP office workers, unemployment, things like this. A lot of these people live in the Kalihi area.
Yeah.
A lot of these people only make it because they have dual income. Okay. And their very organization that is supposed to be protecting their rights as a worker is endorsing these same candidates over and over again who are not doing shit for them.
No, I agree.
And now wait, so when we get into the housing and the AMI and all of that, my thing is more, why are we not supporting elected officials who have a long-term vision? And again, Americans don't like long-term visions. But my thing is, people shouldn't have to live in towers if they don't want to.
No,
right?
they shouldn't.
But now the problem is so many of the jobs, especially the state and the county, are all focused in one general area. But why not, branch out into like Kapolei? I think there's a couple of state offices.
So they are going to be
now.
there, but the other problem is, I'll disagree with you on this one, okay? Is because the math won't, in terms of the land that's going to be out there. Now, this is what I mean, this is what I mean by that, right? Is that, the jobs are there. However, if we want to keep our green spaces as much as possible, we're going to have to build up in terms of multi-tier.
Right.
But I'm not opposed. I'm just saying that I don't think people should have to live in towers.
Well, that's separate from what we're talking about here is your job. Let's say and I'm going to use bargaining 13. This is, you have a 4 university degree and you're starting out at a white collar non-supervisory level. SR22, I'm sorry to say schedule, SR22 starting. I'm sorry to use a bunch of acronyms.
It's like 4,000 a month.
Yeah, 4,000 and change, right?
Right.
Before tax.
Before tax.
Right.
Oh, wait.
They can't. Can they afford 67,000 too?
No, and
those are the ones that are like, oh, well, we're doing this for the workforce, right?
Yeah, which
but we're talking middle class, or should be. I mean, that's not even there.
No, and they're
how?
And they're not, because they're brainwashed like everybody else in the world.
Yeah, and this is why we try to educate the community. So when I had for mine, it was funny. I went in there, I was in board shorts and slippers, pretend I didn't know anything. Right? I was just there, lounging and stuff like that. Probably had a drink with a mixed drink or whatever. That was
people in New York,
in a Nalgene, one of those things, And I was sitting there listening to this. I'm like, wow, how are they getting away with this? And And then I was like, I started, and like as they're going to end, then I started asking the hard questions, right? What AMI is this? How do you do this? And I started asking the technical questions that they didn't expect.
They didn't know.
No, they did know. The thing I could tell them was they didn't want to say it.
Yeah. That's usually how it
Because
is.
when you have the go-ahead from HHFDC, you have to lay everything out.
Because my thing is, like,
They lay it out.
I kind of want to go back to what you guys were talking about, the Hawaiian homes. Because I do think that there should be an option where they should get like a condo, right? If they build a tower just for Hawaiian homes,
home.
condo. But I'm curious, because those towers only last X amount of decades, right? And then now, will there be a transfer to a new?
That's a good question, but I think as we look at building
Because
material,
imagine this. Imagine if your grandson, you get a condo, and then your grandson looks back because the condo's gone. You have nothing to show for it. He's like, damn, I could have had some land.
No.
It's actually a good idea. Go ahead.
For me, it's like buying a home. How long does that home is going to last? It's going to deteriorate,
Right.
and you're going to have to rebuild. Anyway.
Yeah, but it's the land, though. The land is.
Well,
But the per square footage.
yeah, is what goes about.
Now,
They're not looking at the land.
So
per
what
square
could be
footage.
another option? I think would be awesome if we could. This would be
Go ahead.
is
Yeah.
like a BAH. All right.
I like
Yeah. Basic housing assistance. What is the housing?
Basic allowance.
Basic allowance for
Allowance.
housing. Yeah. But something like that, dude. I mean, that'd be the shit.
Because hey,
You just want it.
The military gives their people that.
Yeah.
And this is why they can afford couple.
But the other part too is like for us, like,
Yeah,
and we
for-
really,
for-
and I
for
know
one.
you may disagree with this, but I think we got to get on track on the FedEx side because that will definitely get us.
So, and me and you will always disagree, just like I will disagree with Zuri, but we are still good friends on the FedEx.
What is it?
Hawaiians
Explain it.
are not Indians. Let's get that.
No, I get it,
Hawaiians
but
until they can take that classification away, I will never.
Dude,
be
you
on
can
FedEx.
call me whatever the hell you want to. If I get a BAH of how much? How much is
On top of whatever
Plus
you're not
free-
getting right now.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. Let's get real.
Okay.
I know a lot of American Indians, and when I was growing up, and I knew as soon as they turned 18, they were getting all this money from the government.
So?
Where are they today? Nowhere. They're drunk.
Right.
But that kind of goes back to
but we can go back to education,
Education
the
and things like
financial
that.
part, right?
Yeah. So
it's like if somebody got out of the military, right? What are they
so
going to
my
do as soon
question
as they
is,
get out there?
do you as a Native Hawaiian want to continue to take the money from Uncle Sam?
Yeah.
That's the
100%.
question.
I would.
Yeah, straight up.
Because look at it like this. What did they get a decade ago, 2 decades ago? What are they going to get 4 decades from now?
And
You
those
better
are good questions.
you gotta
but
fight and
those
take
are
it
good
now.
questions. But the bottom line is what they want. If they want to erase the history of Hawaiians, and that's my biggest problem, because I'm not going to say who said this, but this as well, there's no Hawaiian race. And that's true. There is there is not Hawaiian race. Hawaiian is a national. Hawaiian is
You're
a
right.
nationality.
Yes, it is.
It is not a race. Kanakamole is the race. Hawaiian is the nationality. You take away the nationality, you take away the kingdom. It's just like to say American is a race. American is not American is a nationality. It is not a race.
I'm just saying it like this. Like, I've been to other parts of Indian country. There was this girl that I knew. I messed that one up. I know. I could have been a dependent, damn it. Anybody, if you get a chance, man, just, if you're a dude. No, I was kidding. But all jokes aside.
I'll be a dependa.
But, yeah. What is a dependa? Can you tell the world what the dependa is?
Oh, yeah. It's a military spouse who doesn't do anything.
And you can be, for the equality world, you can be a dude and be that one.
And demands a salute at the gate
That's
because
right.
their spouse is an
respect
officer.
Respect our rank.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah, the spouse is the rank offer.
Look, I wasn't that guy.
They're
right. I was never that guy when I was at, I was like, so the best I ever had was I was going to Tripler and going up, and then they had like this brand new private. He's all like, because I have a bunch of friends, we were gonna go have lunch up at a where the place up there, right?
Yeah, the little cafe.
Yeah, which is awesome. So like, go over there. I feel bad for him. He's like with the glasses, like full on glasses, the BCGs, and then he's like, he looks at my ID card. He was like, just gives a salute. But like I had others. So I was like at the Marine Corps base, dude. The guy would look at my ID. He's like, Like he looked like 5 times up, down, like is this real? Is this real? I'm like, is there a problem, Marine? He's like, no, sir.
He can't read. He's a Marine.
I always had a problem. So first of all, I was born at Tripler Hospital as a child. My dad was
That's
in Korean
why you're
War.
so messed up.
So,
There you go. Shit.
But as a veteran, I go there and they're like, "Are you kidding me? Let me through. I'm tired of waiting.
You're too brown.
I'm tired of waiting."
That's for
so
you.
just so everyone knows, both Ken and James here, Army. I myself, Air Force.
Air
The
Force.
best. No,
Air Force.
Air Force.
Air Force.
The best there is.
Yeah.
You know what? We all cry. Like, so there's a picture that shows like Michael Jordan crying. I've seen a meme. And it's like, and it show a picture like the BX for the Air Force is like when you go to an Air Force base and you see what could have been.
That's so true.
And you know what? And they all tease the Air Force because they're jealous. They wish
Dude, it's true.
they could.
I had a friend who was a Marine officer, right? So he was in Italy, and he was just hanging out, shooting shit, whatever, and he had nowhere to go. So they were like, okay, well, we can put you like where the lobby is for like the enlisted, right? The BEQ kind of thing. He's like, dude, that was nicer than the officers' quarters. It's just like the fucking lobby was.
Dude,
like, God damn.
In Iraq, when we would go to like the Air Force side of, was it BIOP? Yeah, bro.
So did you guys have butlers? Was there butlers?
They had butlers, bro. They were serving you like food at your table.
Here's your thing.
That's their Air Force, right?
Here's your organic orange, just as you expected.
It was just so funny because they're like the Air Force are just such like civilians who don't know what to do with that uniform.
Oh my god,
we weren't civilians. We knew what we to do with our uniform. We knew what we to do with it. Dude, you were jealous.
That's why we were jealous.
You were pissed off. Man, they're eating better than we are, dude.
Someone told me once, I don't know if it's true, but I like it, and I'm just going to say it's true, that the Air Force will send amenities to keep the troops comfortable.
Yeah, okay. So
then they'll do a budget request, like when they deploy.
No. This is the best part, right? No. It gets this, right? So this is a secret, folks. Air Force spends all their money on MWR, all of it, right? You're laughing, right? So this is what MWR is: morale, welfare, and recreation, right? And because we're so dependent upon them for our mechanization, for our mobilization, because we try to, in terms of air, they go to Congress and be like, we don't have any money. And you're screwed because you guys can't do anything without us.
Correct.
So they'll cut them another check. I mean, it's just like I applaud the Air Force. I was like, you know what? We all do. Okay, the best I've ever seen. The best I've ever seen was it was me and a few other friends, and we had his son, and his son was like, yeah, I want to go in the military. And I was like, you ever watch those like A&E intervention things that are going on?
Yeah.
So we're all like, Army, us, and Marine, we're all like, join the Air Force.
Please.
We're all talking like, dude, doesn't matter. As my friend was a Ranger, this other guy was, from the infantry, 0311 from the Marine Corps. He's like, we're all like, join the Air Force. If they put like a camera on us from like A&E, it would look like an intervention. Like we're like, we want you to get better. But it was us being like, join the Air Force. Like, you saw the video? No, don't look at the video. The video's cool, right? Yeah, I know, but we're telling you, like, no. So we get them over to Pro Ridge, and where the Air Force recruiting is, and there's like a thing that says no walk-in appointments, right? So we just walk in to see, and I swear to God, there was an airman right there with a fucking iPad, like, excuse me, do you have a reservation? It was just like, we can pencil you in for 3 months.
But here's the thing, like, I think
the Air Force doesn't take anyone.
No, I know, but we're saying we're like, I want you to see this because it's the only service you'll see this.
Well, but like when I was in
and he must have had like a pedestal there too.
I always wanted to do either Marines or Army because when you see it on TV, it was like the guns and the running, blah blah blah. And I always knew the Air Force was there. My other friends had joined that, but I was like, nah, that's weak. I'm gonna go do something like that, like the Army. Man, then they get to the Army, and I'm like, man, I should have went to the Air Force.
That's right. See, we all go through that phase, dude.
I was like,
we all go through that phase.
But
so for me, I was like, they were right next door, and we always used to be like, oh, look, they got their little flight things.
I'll say this too,
and I cried.
Yeah. The people who do like finance, admin work, medical work in any branch love their job. Well, it's the people who are like infantry or like me. I was military
my favorite
police.
was we had guys who were Rangers, right? 75th Rangers, Ranger instructors, right? E7s that were just like, they were that's the highest they could go because they couldn't go in, as they were in the program, and everyone's like, yeah, you're gonna go back and bring. You're like medical service corps.
Sorry,
but no matter how you dice it, Air Force, Army, Marines, Navy, Coast Guard people. Coast Guard is also part of that. We are all one family.
Yes.
And we love and respect each other.
Are you forgetting the Space Force, bro?
Oh, that's a new one. Once it gets established, then we'll take it from there.
Established.
It's established.
Well, do you know anybody in the Space Force yet?
Actually.
You have like a 10%
No, I met someone though. I met this dude. He does like background extra work on the TV shows.
Kind of like Space Force?
Yeah, and he's like, Space Force. I was like, oh, so what do you do, bro? He was like, same thing I just did in the Air Force.
That's right.
Kind of just different uniform and rank. I was like, that's awesome.
Well, James, I actually think it's time to head on over. I've got a bunch of things to do. So everybody, I'm going to supersede James just for a second. Thank you for listening to the EJ&K show.
Thank you guys. Sorry to make, we'll sometimes we'll make it a little technical and the policy side, but sometimes the community has to hear it so they know what's going on. But we like to joke aside and other things like that. And James, thank you
we're
for
all
having
good.
us on here.
We're just all a bunch of good friends, and we're really good friends all three.
We'll do it again.
Okay. And Ernest is right. Like all the different services. Yeah, we joke on each other, but
we're always there for each other.
We're always there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm there for your DFAC. For the Air Force.
For the Air Force DFAC with the lobsters. Oh, that's right.
All right. Well, I guess fuck it. We'll shout out to the fellow veterans out there.
That's right.
Shout out to our friends and family here on Oahu and Hawaii. And for those listening out there, hope you learned something or at least enjoyed yourself. If not, too fucking bad.
Yeah. If you like it, put a like. And if you have comments, please put comments because I think that James will appreciate
If you don't like Ken, his last name is Farm.
That's
just
right.
put fuck that guy.
But honestly, we hope you enjoyed it just as much as we just enjoyed having fun tonight.
That was fun.
And just relaxing, just being ourselves. And that's what it's about, being ourselves.
Thank you. Everyone and be safe too.
Yeah, everyone be safe.
Hey, are you guys done? All right,
Aloha.
All right, peace.